Okay, we're talking with Pam Nebel on this week's Hidden Gem series. And Pam, I guess, can you just talk about your career? Obviously, you've had one job here at Farragut, and to talk about how you led into the secretary situation, and then obviously it's been 38 years, so you must enjoy it.
I do enjoy it. Actually, yes, I started back in August of 1978. I graduated in 77, and I went to Northwest Missouri State for a year and took the secretarial course down there. Applied for a job. Mr. Humphrey gave me that opportunity that I am very welcome that I had the chance to do. He took a chance on me being 19 years old, and I've been here ever since for 38 years and have enjoyed every minute of it.
Now, titles change and all that. Have you just always been secretary or athletics, or what's your title been?
When I was hired, I was just the 7 through 12 secretary, and then from there it's kind of branched out a little bit. When we had the whole grade sharing thing, then I was helped Mr. Harris out as the assistant athletic director, being in two different schools. When he was in Hamburg, and then the high school was here, there were definitely a lot of questions that needed fielding, and so I tried to help it in that aspect.
And that's kind of, even before that, though, you were, always fielding calls from me. That's how I kind of got to know you. Hey, we're going to have a phone line. We'll be there. So, you've kind of been involved in all of that. So that's how you kind of mold into the athletic field with me. And then there's been a lot of great athletic moments during your 38 years here. Can you share a few of them? You were just a little bit ago, but kind of delve into those a bit.
Sure. Well, the first one that I can definitely remember is 1992, and that's when the boys state basketball team went to state, and that was definitely a fun time. And then 2002, I believe it was a wonderful moment. We had the boys at the Dome, and then our girls were also at the state volleyball playoffs, and so we were making a trip from Cedar Rapids to Cedar Falls in the same day to watch both teams, and just a wonderful feeling to have a community have both teams at the state level.
Definitely. Yeah, can you talk about some of the coaches and people and teachers that you've dealt with that maybe have had an effect and influence on you over these 38 years? There's got to be a long list of them.
I would definitely start off with Mr. Humphrey. Like I said before, he took a chance on a 19-year-old to come in and take the helm at the secretary position. He was definitely probably one of the best mentors that I had while he was here. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago. Wonderful teachers here, that helped me. I remember Mrs. Limbacher. She was I was single at the time when I was hired here, and she told me to make sure that I held my head high, and just wonderful people. Margot Bateman, Mims Henstorf. I'd have to say Charlotte Dittmars is another one that her husband Max was the assistant coach when our girls went to state in 1971, and she was the elementary secretary and has been a true friend from the time that I met her there too. Sandy Hilding, another great principal that I was fortunate to get to work with, and I wouldn't trade her for the world either. Shenandoah was lucky to have her.
Yeah, we definitely are. Can you? I kind of jump around in these interviews. I'm sorry. So I'm going to go back to maybe what got you interested in being a secretary. How did that all come about?
I always helped out in the office at school when I graduated from South Page in College Springs, and I was the secretary helper there for Patsy, and just always kind of enjoyed that, and I liked the business field and just decided to pursue it.
Okay. You mentioned you were single at one point when the teacher was saying keep your head high or whatever it was, but tell me about your family and what's going on with all of them.
Okay, I'm married to Gary, and we've been married 32 years, and it'll be 33 this summer. Two wonderful children. Brian will be 26, and he's in Kansas City working for Cerner Corporation down there. And Chelsea, our daughter, lives in Des Moines, and she's a graphic artist in Des Moines. And they both were actively participants in four sports. So we had fun growing up and watching them too.
Right. How did you meet your husband?
We actually met in Clarinda, and I'm going to honestly say probably it was one of those love at first sight things, and we've remained that way ever since.
That's great. Some of the changes that have gone on here at Farragut with the joining of Nishnabotna, just going back 6 or 7 years or so, with the joining of Hamburg and becoming Nishnabotna. Can you talk about that? Maybe I don't know if there were struggles or how it affected you.
I mean, our main priority here is the students, and that's what we dealt with, and they're so resilient, and the changes for them were not nearly as hard, I think, as probably for the the patrons, and but the kids have all come together, and when you come out into the lunchroom at lunchtime and you see them all mingling, and it's a great feeling, and it's sort of, to me, it's just like the beginning of their college life. They're meeting new friends here and there, and they're great kids. I can't say enough about them. The first year that we're going to hold a grade share the next fall, that was another exciting moment for us as well, when we beat St. Albert in the playoffs to go for our 2010 baseball tournament, and that was an exciting time, and I think that probably was maybe the glue that started sticking us together.
That's what I was kind of going to ask you about. You had mentioned 92 and 2002, and then the 2010 baseball team, which is still one of the highlights of my broadcasting career, that game against St. Albert. Unbelievable. And you mentioned how it was kind of a glue that maybe made this whole thing work out a little bit. Can you speak to that a little bit? Maybe did you feel, maybe you didn't feel like it wasn't going to work out, but then that just kind of sealed it?
I think exactly. The kids, once they start playing together and success starts happening, I think that pulls them together, and then they start talking to their parents and realize that maybe this is a good thing, and it's just opening another door to their lifetime career. So I think it's been a wonderful thing.
All right, let's kind of dive into some of those old memories that you had from 1992 boys basketball team with Coach Ramsey and his group. What do you remember most about maybe the team or the moment, or what do you remember a lot about them?
That's how I kind of remember, when you be at a place for 38 years, it's kind of hard to remember what year did that student graduate or whatever, but those specific times you can remember students that are in those classes, and Paul Ramsey, Ryan Bright, Lance Foster, Andy McQueen. It's just, those names just stick with you because you felt like you were part of that atmosphere when we went to the state tournament, and it was just a fun ride. Mr. Ramsey was a coach for several years. I don't know how many, but I was lucky enough that Brian got to have him as a coach as well, and very knowledgeable, and took them to the top. Yeah,
definitely did. And then 2002. That fall had to be unbelievable with the as you said, the football team and the volleyball team, which a small town will go to state football maybe once every 15 years, a small school. And then volleyball maybe once every 15, 20 years, or never, and they go in the same year. This place had to be crazy.
It was absolutely amazing, yes. You just, for a while, you have to slap yourself and make sure that it's really real, because like you said, a lot of the larger schools are able to go out and recruit, and we've always said, these are our little hometown athletes that definitely prove themselves in every aspect. And the volleyball girls went in 2002 and then again in 2005, and it was just an amazing era there, definitely.
Kind of jump back to the 70s there. You caught the late 70s, but there was an 11-year string, and I'm not exactly sure when it ended for Farragut in terms of winning the girls' state, or not girls' state, but girls' corner conference tournament. Of course, they won the state title in 1971, but they were expected. They were like a powerhouse, not just here, but throughout the state. Was that still kind of the remnants of that still going on?
I think so. I mean, as you said, I got in on the tail end of it, but we did definitely. And actually, I had just talked to Blair Holman about that, and it was a long. I do believe it was 11 years that they were the Corner Conference champions, and it's always a fun time when you're winning, and success goes a long way.
So I guess this is your opinion, what kind of separated the state tournament level teams, and then Farragut's had some other good teams too that had success as well, but and Nishnabotna. What separated the teams that were really, really successful and those that maybe weren't as successful in your opinion?
I don't know. I mean, I guess when you look at, I look at my son's team. He was a four-sport athlete, but didn't have a lot of wins in his career, but never ever gave up. And I guess that whole thing of kids, just they want to be there, they want to play, they want to do their best, and that's what they try to do. So
sometimes it's just luck, who was born at the right time and how many of them, I guess. So situation we've got going on now with the what's going to happen here, with the school not being, Farragut not being a school district starting next year. So can you talk about that? And there's probably some emotions that have definitely flown over the last several months.
Yeah, it has not been an easy fall, but we're here to educate students and give them the best opportunities possible, and that's our main focus and our main goal. And right now, we're not worried about ourselves; we're worried about the kids and where they're going to head. And we just wish them success. Like we said before, they're resilient. They accept change, and it's an unfortunate thing, but we have to deal with it.
Also, I was going to ask you. You mentioned the resiliency of the kids. Have you seen much? How have the kids responded in what you've seen?
As I said before, the kids here, they're just wonderful kids. They still want to do well in school. They want to do well in drama. They want to do well in sports. They're just a natural kid where they want to be the best that they can, and they're continuing definitely with no struggles at this point.
My mom is a secretary too, so I have a great respect for what you do, and I think she just loves working with high school kids. And I guess, is that really what's kept you? It's just your love for the kids for 38 years to keep coming every single day?
That's a definite. I had 2 kids of my own, but I said I've had hundreds of other kids, and they're just I wouldn't change it for the world. This has been the best 38 years of my life.
Pam, here's to another 38.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.